And we've learned that the brain can only absorb what the butt can endure. Most butts are 15-minute butts. My goal is to have you out of here in less than an hour. So let's go ahead and get started. Go ahead and hit that speaker view button if you haven't. Excellent, excellent. In case I haven't met you personally, my name is Andre Simino. I'm an executive vice president with a company called 5 Rings Financial. 5 Rings Financial is a lot like a Merrill Lynch, an A.G. Edwards, a Charles Schwab, only where those guys focus on millionaires, we focus on middle income Americans. What we've learned in the last 30 years is that people today would prefer to be taught what to do with their money instead of told what to do with their money. The number one reason that people end up at our class like tonight is somebody attended our class previously, they liked what they learned, and they felt you deserved to learn too, so they shared it. They invited you to come over. There's 2 groups of people that come to our class, and the first group is someone who's never saved any money all of their life. And it's not just the 20-year-olds. The average person in America today is 53 years old before they start saving for retirement. Think about it. We go to school, we meet our spouse, we get out of school, we have kids, we send those kids off to school, and we go, oops, I forgot to save for retirement. That group comes because they want to learn principles of saving money. The second group that comes to our class is a group that has been saving. That thing called the stock market, where most of us have our money, it's been like a roller coaster. And maybe when we were kids we liked roller coasters, but today with our money it's a little bit too steep, it's a little bit too curvy, and people are saying, hey, how do I get off the roller coaster? I'm here to tell you you can get a decent return on your money and still retire in dignity. That group comes to our class because they want to learn principles of protecting the money they already have. The number one thing I want you to notice that's different about our class today is nobody's got a sticky name tag. We didn't make you give us your name or your phone number or an email address or a next of kin so we could call you and hound you until you had to join the witness protection program and move out of state. Our information's important and vital. We're glad that someone shared this invitation with you. When somebody comes to our class and as we wrap up, they raise their hand and they say, hey, I have a couple of questions. When we get to sit down with you, we get to talk to you about the retirement savings teeter-totter. And there's 2 sides. On the risk side of this teeter-totter, there are things like mutual funds, gold, stocks, and who knew, but real estate would make it onto the risk side in 2008. Did you know half the people in America lost half the value of their homes in 2008? It wasn't until 2015 or even 16 that people got back to even. And then on the safe side of the teeter-totter, we have things like CDs, money market accounts, and maybe a little bit of money under the mattress. And I say mattress to be funny, but it was just a few years ago. I'm with a client. I'm at her kitchen table telling her about a guy that buries money in the backyard. As I'm telling her the story, her brother walks by the kitchen door. He leans in. He says, "Did you tell him?" And I said, "Whoa, I was just making a joke." And this is what he said to me. "As a matter of fact, I have $100,000 buried in the backyard." We gave him some free advice that day. Go down to Home Depot, buy some of that white PVC pipe, dig up your money, put it in the pipe, glue the ends, bury it, so at least your money won't rot. Here's what had happened to him, like so many other Americans. If you look back at the 80s and you look at the stock market, it just went up and up and up and up and up. We made a lot of money in the market. And by 2001, we maybe got a little too excited. We put too much in, and we had our first opportunity to lose half of our savings, half of our retirement. We went to our clients and said, you might want to move your money, some out of risk, and put it into safe. And what everybody said to us back then is this will never happen again. And sure enough, by the year 2007, the stock market did get right back to even. And isn't that an interesting investment philosophy? If someone showed up at your house today and said, hey, give me all of your money and I guarantee you that 7 years from now I'll get you back to even, you would laugh at them, you'd show them the door, and you'd say that's not an investment philosophy. And yet in 2008, people were dancing in the street because they had gotten back to even in their savings. And then 2008 happens. This was our second opportunity to lose half, up to 54%. If you had an IRA or a 401k back then, you vividly remember this. This is when you lost half of your savings. 2008 was my dad's year to retire, and at the end of 2008, this is what my dad said: I really like working. Said no one ever. But because my dad had lost half of his savings, he couldn't afford to retire. Here's what my dad did. Like so many Americans, 71% of Americans move their money out of risk and into safe. And they ask this question: when is this going to happen again? Does anybody else notice this? It's the year 2017. The stock market is at a third all-time high. It's never been higher in its history. From 2009 to about 2011, when we were meeting with people, everybody did this. Whew, I just didn't lose anymore. But from 2012 to about 2015, people said, wait a minute, I'm frustrated. I'm not making any money on my money. Anybody know what the average CD in America pays right now? If you Google it, it's about 0.5%. Average money market account, that's the safe bucket where your 401k lives. That's 0.1. And of course, if you have money under the mattress, it just earns dust. So we had two groups of people. One that said, I'm frustrated, I'm not making any money on my money. And we had a second group, like my dad, who said, I'm scared. I can't afford to ever lose my money again. So we started asking this question: if I could wave a magic wand and you could pick anywhere on this teeter-totter to be, where would you like to be? What just about everybody says to us is, I'd like to be right in the middle. Here's what people mean by the middle. When the stock market goes up, I want the upside. I want my money to grow. And they say, but I never want to lose my money again. I want the 0% safety of the safe side. And then everybody chuckles. They say, that doesn't exist. I've been learning French. My business partner, Lyles, taught me two words, and they are au contraire. This does exist. And it exists as something called an indexed account. What I'd like to do is take a quick step back. I told you there are two groups of people that come to our workshop. I'd like to teach you the 3 key principles that we need to know for saving money. I'm going to rewind about 30 years to a guy by the name of Mike. And Mike gets a postcard in the mail. This postcard invites him to a class just like tonight. He looked at it, he chuckles, he goes, man, why am I getting this? I'm 26. I'm $30,000 in debt. I live paycheck to paycheck. But he figured some guy in the mailroom put the wrong sticker on the wrong envelope, so he's going. Let's go see what the wealthy talk about. He comes to the class. He loved the information. As Jim, the speaker, was wrapping up, Mike tried to sneak out the back door, and Jim left fire in the carpet. He meets Mike, and he says, Mike, I think we could help you. And Mike says, Jim, there's no way. I'm $30,000 in debt. Do you all understand that $30,000 of debt 30 years ago is like $100,000 of debt today? Could you imagine being $100,000 of debt right now on a credit card at 18%? Jim says to Mike, Mike, if you give me an hour, I'll give you an hour. Mike figured, I learned some good stuff in the class. Okay, Jim, come on over. A week later, Jim is at Mike's house, and he says to Mike, Mike, I'm the luckiest guy in the world. I teach people about something everybody wants to have. And that is a big pile of money in retirement. And he asked him this question. He said, Mike, could you save $5 a day? So I want to ask all of you here, could you save $5 a day? I see some hands, I see some eyebrows. It was kind of a knee-jerk reaction for Mike. Mike's like, $5, sure. I had a guy in California raise his hand, and he goes, Andre, I already drink 4 cups of coffee a day. If I drank 1 less cup of coffee, that'd be my $5. I said, yeah, and we should petition Starbucks to change their name to $5. Jim says, Mike, $5 a day over the next 40 years at a decent interest rate grows to $1 million. Mike gets excited, and then he has the deer in the headlights look. And Jim says, Mike, what just happened? And Mike says, Jim, I might have $5 a day, but there's no way I have $150 a month. This is the difference between emotion and logic with our money. Jim says, Mike, no problem. We have a funnel program. We refinance your finances like a mortgage, lowers your interest rate, lowers your payment. And that night, when Jim refinanced Mike's finances, his IRA, his insurances, his tax return, Jim found for Mike $200 in savings. $200 that Mike didn't know he had. That same 200 in this same equation grows to $1.5 million. That night when Jim left, Mike had a $1.5 million savings and investment plan in place with money he didn't know he had. Jim noticed that Mike got kind of excited and he invited him. He said, Mike, would you be interested in coming to work with us? And Mike said, Jim, I don't know if I could do what you do. And Jim said, Mike, I don't either, but I'd be willing to train you and apprentice you in a mentor program over the next 6 or 12 or 18 months. Mike thought to himself, okay, I'll go make a few $100 and then I'll get a real job. 18 months later, Mike had paid off all $30,000 of his debt, moonlighting with Jim. 18 months later, Mike was making more money a month working with Jim than he was at his construction management job. So Mike got himself voluntarily fired. That's how our company, 5 Rings Financial, was born 30 years ago. Principle number 1 is called time value of money. The second principle is called compound interest. A lot of us have heard about it. There's a guy by the name of Albert Einstein, crazy hair. When he discovers compound interest, he calls it the 8th wonder of the world. He learns there's an equation for compound interest called the rule of 72. Here's how it works. Let's say you're earning 1% on your money. So take the 1, divide it into the number 72. It's always the number 72. When 1 divides into 72, that equals 72. I was in Boulder, Colorado last week. I had to use multiple choice. Here's what that means. If your money's growing at only 1%, it's going to take 72 years for your money to double. And we're all hoping just for one 72-year period. Sometimes people ask this question, well, what difference does 2 or 3 or even 4% on my money make? Let me give you an example. There's these 3 sisters. They're each 29 years old. Their uncle passes away. He leaves them each $5,000. He gives them 2 rules. Rule number 1, you got to lump sum the money into an account. Rule number 2, you can't touch the money till you're 65. First sister goes to the bank. I'm going to be really generous to the banker, say he gets her 4%. 4 into 72 is 18. That means her money's going to double every 18 years. 29 plus 18 is 47. 5,000 is going to double to 10,000. 47 plus 18 is 65. 10,000 doubles to 20,000. This is the magic of compound interest. No more money in, no more money out. Did everybody follow my math? Okay. Second sister comes to our workshop. She learns you can average up to 8%. The first time I'm in the class, they drew 8. I yelled out from the back, 40,000. I figured if you double the interest rate, you would double the money. Well, 8 into 72 is every 9 years. 29 plus 9 is 38, plus 9 is 47. Her 5,000 doubles to 10, and then to 20. She's only 47. 47 plus 9 is 56, plus 9 is 65. 20,000 doubles to 40,000, and one more time to $80,000. Big difference or a little difference? Huge. If you went to work tomorrow and your boss called you in the office and said, hey, I want to give you a raise. You've done such a great job. Would you like a $20,000 a year raise or an $80,000 a year raise? Doesn't that feel a little bit bigger? Yeah. And P.S., being the first guy in the room to yell out 40,000, embarrassing. Third sister says, I've seen 12 in the past. I think we'll see it in the future. I know it's not year over year, but I'm curious. 12 into 72 is every 6 years. 29 plus 6 is 35. Plus 6 is 41. Plus 6 is 47. Plus 6 is 53. Her 5,000 doubles to 10, to 20, to 40, to $80,000, and she matches her sister. She's only 57. She gets 2 more doublings. 53 plus 6 is 59, plus 6 is 65. Her 80,000 doubles to 160, and one more time to $320,000. I learned 2 things that night. 1, I didn't know as much about compound interest as I thought I did. 2, we didn't go from 4 all the way to 40 or 50%. We made small interest rate differences over a long period of time. This is how they say it. Those that understand compound interest earn it. Those that don't, pay it. Key money principle number 2. Our third one, most powerful thing we teach every day. This is the most powerful one we teach. When we talk to the wealthy, what we find out from them is the number one thing that they do to keep getting wealthy is they grow as much money as possible in non-taxable accounts. So I'm going to compare growing money in a non-taxable account versus a taxable account. I'm going to go to 2 groups of people, Mr. and Mrs. Wealthy American and Mr. and Mrs. Middle American. First, I'm going to go to Mr. and Mrs. Wealthy American. They're going to grow their money in a non-taxable account. I'm going to make both groups this deal. If you give me $1 today, I guarantee to double your money every year for the next 20 years. Give me $1. That first year, I double it to 2. The next year, I double it to 4. The next year, I double it to 8. And if I do this math for the next 20 years, this account grows to $1,048,000. 2 situations here. Number 1, it's a disclaimer. There's nothing on the planet that doubles your money every year. I did have a guy raise his hand once and say, what about Las Vegas? And I said, no. Las Vegas is not an approved plan for retirement dollars. And you know what he said to me? But they give me free drinks. I said, no. Retirement dollars, not in Las Vegas. But here's the second thing. Did you notice that we didn't take tax out of the account? 1 doubled to 2, 2 doubled to 4, 4 doubled to 8. No tax while this account grew. Let's go to Mr. and Mrs. Middle American. Let's make them the exact same deal. If you give me $1 today, I guarantee to double your money every year for the next 20 years. Well, Mr. and Mrs. Middle American would probably end up at a bank. They'd probably buy a CD. And did you know CDs are taxable every year? That means that when 1 doubles to 2, we have $1 of gain. And Uncle Sam wants his tax. Let's use 28%. If you make $1 and you pay 28% or 28 cents, when your 1 doubles to 2, you don't really get 2. You get $1.72. Did my math make sense to everybody? I double my 1 to 2, we make $1, we pay 28 cents, I only have $1.72. But I told them I would double their money. 172 doubles to 344. We got to tax it down. 344 is 296. 296 doubles to 592. 592 taxes down to 509. If we double and tax this account for the same 20 years, if this one's $1,048,000, how much is this one with no taxes. Everybody do me a favor and think of a number. This account's $1,048,000, no taxes. How much is this account double in tax, double in tax? Everybody get a number in their head. Whoever gets closest tonight, whoever invited you, is going to take you out for free pie. And you can tell them that Andre said they owe you free pie. Any guesses? Our most popular guess is $250,000. Our second most popular guess is $700,000. You ready for the real answer? $51,353. That's just a $1 million difference, knowing whether you're growing your money in a non-taxable versus a taxable account. This is the most powerful thing we teach every single day. I usually have at least one person who's thinking this. Okay, Andre, you grew me this $1,048,000. Don't I have to pay tax on it at the end? It's a good question. Let's just say you did. And let's use 50%. Let's be ridiculous. Let's use 50% as the tax rate on this $1,048,000. 50% on $1,048,000 is $524,000. That is still 10 times as much as $51,353. Most powerful thing we teach every day. Something really fun to do is to go to work tomorrow. Take this example. Go to the coffee pot room, the community room, the kitchen, where the really smart person is, the bubbler. Don't you all have one? They know everything about everything. And walk them through these numbers, make them write this down. Because if they don't, when you give them the number and you say, oh yeah, it's $51,353, they're going to say, yeah, of course I knew that. You know what? They lie about other things too. The 3 key money principles that we need to know about saving money is number 1, time value of money. $5 a day will grow to $1 million. Number 2 is compound interest. Those that understand it earn it. Those that don't pay it. And the most powerful one is grow as much money as possible in a non-taxable versus a taxable account. What I'd like to do now is take a step forward. I'd like to talk to the group of people that want to protect the money they already have. When I first got started, I mentioned an account called an indexed account. I'm going to walk you through an indexed account and how it works. When I'm done, you will know more about indexed accounts than 92% of the US population does. The best definition that I've heard of an indexed account is the ability to passively own the stock market while protecting your money from the downside. Passively own the stock market while protecting your money from the downside. There's 3 main ways that money comes into an index account. And the first one is a rollover from something like a 401k or an IRA or a TSP or a 457. The IRS sees an indexed account as a like instrument, which means there's no taxes and there's no penalty to move your money from where it is and put it into an indexed account. If you know somebody who has an old 401k at an old company, by the way, free advice, tell them to move it. We had a client, she worked for Circuit City. She had $40,000 in her IRA. She leaves Circuit City, gets a new job, and a couple years later gets a letter in the mail and a $1,000 check. And the letter said, when we went out of business, so did your 401k. Here's $1,000. So some free advice. If you have money in an old 401k, move it. Don't leave it there. People say to us sometimes, Andre, that could never happen. Have you guys ever heard of a company called Enron? Because they say their company's too big. It happened to them. Sometimes money comes into an indexed account as a pile of dollars. We met a guy who had $40,000 in coffee cans in his woodshed. His money smelled really good. Sometimes people want to make a monthly deposit. We talked earlier about $5 a day, $150 a month, $150 a month, $150 a month. The very first thing that an indexed account does is it contractually guarantees in writing that you can never lose a penny of your money. It protects every dollar that you put into an indexed account. If you look historically at indexed accounts in America, not one person has ever lost a penny of their money due to stock market performance. The second thing an indexed account does is it allows you to passively own the stock market. So let's give an example. If your money's protected, that is like having a 0% floor on your dollars. The indexed account, the money sits on the sideline in the protected bucket. It looks at the stock market to figure out what to credit interest. So for example, the stock market goes up, it goes down, it goes up, it goes down, it goes up. Sometimes just in 1 month. So your money's sitting on the sideline. Let's do an example. Let's say that the first year the stock market goes up, and let's say it goes up plus 8%. Your money's sitting on the sideline, sees that 8% growth, it comes over here and it credits your bucket of money 8% for that year. The index account resets itself. It then looks at the second year, because index accounts don't care what happened last year or what's going to happen next year. They just look at this 12-month period. So let's say the next year the indexed account goes down, and let's say it goes down 8%. Well, that year, because your money's protected on the sideline, it gets a 0. So it comes over here and it credits your bucket of money 0% for the year. Sometimes people say to me, Andre, really? You want to offer me 0 on my money? Let's rewind the clock for a sec to the year 2008. While everybody else in the country was losing up to 54% of their money, could I have interested anybody in 0 that year? The answer is yeah, 0 is your hero any year the market goes down. If you have this floor on your account, that usually means you have a ceiling. My wife calls this ceiling the not too good to be true line. So let's say that the next year the stock market goes up and it goes up 16%. That ceiling, let's use an example, say 13%. That year when the market goes up 16, it hits this 13 ceiling and it comes over here and it credits your bucket of money 13% for the year. Here's what our clients say to us. We would happily give up some of that upside to never participate in the downside again. We had a client who came to the workshop. He says, okay, Andre, I get the idea, I get the principle. An indexed account goes up when the market goes up, and it goes sideways when the market goes down. It goes up when the market goes up, it goes sideways when the market goes down. He said, could you give me a real-world example? I said, sure. He asked, could you please compare actual performance from 2000 to 2005? So let's do that. Index, market. That first year in the index in the market was an up year. It was plus 8. Remember what happened in our example? When the market goes up 8, the index account goes up 8. Resets itself. The next year, our example, the market went down 8. What happens in the indexed account? It gets a 0. The money's on the sideline. That year in the indexed account got a 0. The next year the market went up. The market went up plus 16. The indexed account only goes up to the ceiling. That year in the indexed account plus 13. He asked us, this was 2000 to 2005. That next year in the stock market happened to be a down year. The indexed account got a 0. The next year in the stock market was an up year. The indexed account went up. Sometimes people say, Andre, anybody can draw dots and lines and make their product look better. You know how hard it is to keep all of these straight and on the right axis? Here we are, 2000 to 2005. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years. He asked us to compare $100,000. The actual performance of $100,000 in the stock market in that 5-year period at the end of 2005 was $91,000. The indexed account, that 8% and that 0 and that 13% and that 0 and that positive, ended at $126,000. That's a $35,000 difference because of one reason, and this is the reason. Indexed accounts only go up or sideways, up or sideways. An indexed account never has to make up for loss because it can never lose. This is what he said to me. He said, Andre, if that was 2005, he said, I know '06 was a good year and '07 was a good year. And he's right, they were. So what happened in the indexed account? '06, '07. I politely remind him that that was 2008. Do you remember what happened in 2008? Only minus 54%. I have this whiteboard in one of my offices. It goes all the way to the floor. I get to do yoga while doing the presentation. At the end of 2008, the stock market account had an $86,000 balance. The indexed account had grown to $144,000. And what happens in an indexed account when the market goes down? Gets a zero. I was in New York a couple months ago and I had a guy said, it just cruises. I thought that was pretty good. 2008, the indexed account got a zero, which means he still had all $144,000. This is the most powerful thing that we can make as a recommendation for that part of your money that you want to know that you know you're never going to lose again. The number one question that we get about indexed accounts is this: why didn't my stockbroker tell me? Why didn't my banker tell me? Why didn't the 401k company where I work offer me an indexed account? Very simple reason. Fixed indexed accounts, they're called no fee based accounts. We're not anti-stock market. We're not anti-stock broker. We are pro-safe. But because a fixed index account does not pay a management fee, no ongoing 1 or 2 or 3%, and because it doesn't pay a transaction fee, it's financially not in the best interest of the banker, the broker, the 401k company to offer it. They can't make money to sell it. Number one question that we can ask. You now know more about fixed indexed accounts than 92% of the population. Let me show you the 3 stages of money and I'll wrap us up for this evening. There's 3 stages of money. The first stage is called protection. 95% of our clients never leave stage 1. It's your insurances, it's your IRA, it's your 401k, it's your savings. It's guaranteeing that you'll never lose another penny again. Stage 2 of money is called risk. It's the stock market. Only 5% of our clients go there. Most of us ended up in the stock market not because we wanted to take a risk, but because we got a 401k. And the company said, if you do 3%, we'll do 3%. And by the way, that's free money. Almost always take free money. Stage 3 of money is called distribution. It's a place that we're experts. Let's say it's your 65th birthday. You've got $1 million saved up. You show up at our office. You say to us, I want all of my million. I'm moving to the equator to live in a leaf. How much of that million do you get versus does Uncle Sam let you have? We hear things like 50-50, 80-20. I was in Boulder a couple weeks ago and the guy with the brownie in the back, he said 70-10. Here's what we know. If you don't have distribution set up right, you're lucky to get 60 cents on the dollar. We have a program called Tax-Free Indexed Account. And the way that Tax-Free Indexed Account works is like this. Every dollar that goes inside of this account grows non-taxable. Remember the 1 doubles to 2, doubles to 4, doubles to 8? Every dollar that comes out of a tax-free index account comes out tax-free for any purpose at any age. Sometimes the question I get is, can I do this for a college savings? The answer is yes. Let's compare it to a 529 plan. A 529 plan also grows non-taxable, and the money also comes out tax-free, only for an accredited college. Works the same. Here's the problem. If your son is like mine, and he wants to be a YouTuber, there's no accredited college for that yet, so I can't use the 529. If your daughter's like mine and she wants to go to Paris to be a cupcake chef, can't use the 529, not accredited college. But I can use a tax-free indexed account for that. I can use a tax-free indexed account. We call this $1 million baby. I can use it for their first bike, their first car. I can use it for the year abroad while they figure out who they want to be. I could pay for college if they want. If they don't go to college, I could use it for their first business, their first house. I could let it ride and it can become retirement savings. Most powerful financial instrument out there. Here's one other difference. If you have $100,000 saved up in a 529 plan, and you fill out financial aid, the FAFSA forms at the college, this is what they're going to say. Disqualified for financial aid. You have $100,000 in a 529. However, if you have $100,000 in a tax-free indexed account, when the IRS built this, one of the benefits they said is, because you're saving money for yourself and you're protecting you, we will make every dollar inside of this account a non-visible asset. That means it doesn't show up for financial aid. So you can fill out financial aid, don't disclose the $100,000, and then use the $100,000 to pay for college, if you want to do it that way. Also, the most powerful financial instrument for business owners. If you've paid taxes on your money and you want a place to grow it, put it in a tax-free indexed account. Grow it, grow it, grow it. Access it all again tax-free for any purpose. Or if you're over 70 and you have to do RMDs where the government makes you take your money out, if you don't need the money, put it in a tax-free indexed account. Let it keep growing until you want to pull it out later, or leave it for the grandkids. Most powerful financial instrument out there. Same account that the Rockefellers, the Vanderbilts, the Carnegies have been using for hundreds of years to grow wealth. We figured out how to teach tax-free indexed account to middle Americans. What we've learned over the years is there's not a money problem in our country as much as there's a lack of education about money problem in our country. Second key principle to protect your money is a tax-free indexed account. The third key money principle to protect your money is called living benefits. Here's how living benefits works. Let's say that you're going through life making money. This is your income, this is your expenses. By the way, keep your income above your expenses. Do me a favor, would everybody think of somebody they know that was going through life and a negative life event showed up? Something happened to them, like a heart attack. Think of somebody you know that's had a stroke. Think of somebody you know that's had cancer. Those are the big three: heart attack, stroke, and cancer. Everywhere I go in America, 100% of the people, 100% of the time, know somebody that has had one of these negative life events. Think about the person you know. For most people in America, their income went down. For most people in America, their expenses went up. And where these two pieces cross, 62% of Americans end up in bankruptcy. Because health insurance paid the doctor, but what didn't it do? It didn't replace the mortgage. It didn't pay the car payment. It didn't put food on the table. It didn't pay insurances. It didn't replace the person's income or the spouse who had to stop working to take care of them. It didn't replace their income. You know what? It didn't even pay Netflix. I mean, if you're home recovering from one of these three events, what do? You binge watch Netflix. So what do most Americans do? They reach into their savings. They reach into their IRA, their 401k. They reach into their business, the equity in their house. They call mom and dad, help. They sell their house and they move in with their mom and dad. That's why our parents keep moving to Florida. No basements for us to move into. That's why our kids move to Arizona. No basements there for them to move into. Here's what Living Benefits very simply does. Living Benefits looks at this negative life event and it gives you access to a big pile of money so that this bankruptcy never happens. I want to use life insurance as the example tonight. For those of you out there that have life insurance, think about why you have life insurance. No, think about who it's for. It's not for you, is it? It's for them. What's the purpose of my life insurance? If something happens to me, I leave 10 years of my income to my wife. I pay off the house. I pay off our debts. I put $100,000 in an account for each of the kids to go to college, and then I put $50,000 in an account for my wife to bury me and take her new husband on an amazing vacation. And it's not for her, it's for him. Mighty big shoes to fill. Think about life insurance. Don't we have to do something to get it? We gotta die. Shouldn't this really be called death insurance? Yeah. They tried marketing it like that in the beginning and nobody would buy it. That's why they changed it to life insurance. Here's what Living Benefits does. Two of our companies, a few years back, what they did is they looked at our life insurance and they decided this. If we're going to pay you because you're going to die, let's pay you because you lived through your life event. Living Benefits very simply looks at your life insurance, death benefit, and gives you access to that money because you lived through your life event. And it looks at your term life insurance. Let me give you three quick examples and I'll wrap us up. The first way it pays is terminal illness. Just a few years ago, we had a client, single mom, no husband in the picture, no parents alive, 2 little girls. And she was the everything mom, Sherpa mom, homework mom, oh my gosh, you forgot your violin at home, I'll go home and get it and bring it back to school mom. Well, she gets cancer. For 2 years, her and her doctor try everything and nothing works. At the end of the 2 years, a doctor calls her in the office, tells her this is the worst day of my life. I gotta tell you that you're terminal. She freaks out. She's like, what about this experimental surgery? And the doctor says, unfortunately, health insurance won't pay for experimental surgery. She drives home a bit distraught. She calls her life insurance guy, tells him the story, and he says, stop. You have living benefits. She didn't even realize. They submit a claim to the life insurance company. 10 days later, she has a check for $100,000 from her term life insurance. She takes that money, she pays for the experimental surgery, and today, 15 years later, she's still alive. That should be called life insurance. The second way it pays is a critical illness. This is heart attack, stroke, cancer, cognitive impairment, like you're doing yoga and you hit your head and now you're cuckoo, loco la cabeza, ALS, blindness, lose a limb, lose an organ. It triggers the critical illness and you can access up to 75% of your term life insurance. We have an agent, Nicole, in San Diego. She has a client about 3 years ago who gets one of these tax-free indexed accounts for savings for college, and she got some living benefits at the same time. Well, just about a year later, she calls Nicole and she says, oh my gosh, Nicole, I got diagnosed with cancer. Most people don't live through this. They submit a claim to the life insurance company. The company sends her back a letter and says, you can have up to $300,000 of your $400,000 term living benefits life insurance. Let me tell you, she didn't miss a beat financially. Naturopathic treatment, it saved her house financially. That should be called life insurance. The third way it pays is chronic illness. Chronic illness, if you can't do 2 of your 6 activities of daily living, kind of like long-term care. The last way it pays is if you die. Living benefits is a life insurance. Here's what we know statistically in America right now. You and I are 8 times more likely to have one of these 3 events before we have this event. If anybody's ever been on that thing called Facebook, that's what it's called. Anybody ever seen one of those GoFundMes because somebody got cancer and they're trying to raise money? Somebody had a stroke and they're trying to raise money? Somebody had an accident, they fell off the roof, they're in a wheelchair, they can't feed themselves, they're trying to raise money? Imagine if those people had come to our workshop and had living benefits life insurance, and they could have accessed 75%. We know that we're 8 times more likely to have one of these events before we have one of these events. We also know this. Right now in America, barely 10% of the people that have life insurance have living benefits life insurance. 90% of the population has the old death-only kind of life insurance. The kind you gotta die to get. Part of our mission, part of our charge, we want everybody in America to know that their life insurance could be living benefits life insurance. Out of the 900 life insurance in the United States, only about 5 companies offer living benefits like this. I want to thank you for joining us this evening. The person that invited you, they felt you deserved to learn what we teach. If you do nothing else tonight, would you please pick up your phone, go to your email, go to Facebook, send smoke signals. Would you please express some gratitude to the person that invited you? If you do nothing else today, at least tell the person that invited you, hey, thanks. I got some great information and the bald guy in the bow tie was actually kind of funny. Second thing is when you send that message, tell them that they owe you free pie. And tell them that Andre said they owe you free pie. We do this workshop class about 1 time a week by video like this, different nights. Starting this week, we're going to have one every single Thursday at 5:30 Colorado time. That's 4:30 West, 7:30 East Coast. And then we're going to move dates around, like the one tonight and the one Saturday and the one next Tuesday. I invite you to attend again. The person that invited you for one of maybe 4 reasons. I invite you to come again. Bring your parents to protect your inheritance. Bring your kids to get them off the payroll. Maybe you know somebody that needs an indexed account. Maybe you know somebody that never wants to lose money again in their 401k or their IRA. How cool would it be for you to be somebody's hero because they came to the class, they got an indexed account, and if the market ever went down again, they'd call you up and say, I'm taking you to Ruth Chris Steakhouse because if it weren't for you, I wouldn't have known that an indexed account existed. Maybe you know somebody that needs a tax-free indexed account, whether $1 million baby for college savings. Maybe you know somebody who's had a baby in the last 10 years and they want the best college savings out there. Or a business owner that doesn't want to keep paying taxes, or somebody over 70 that doesn't need the money yet and they can keep saving it. Maybe you know somebody that needs living benefits. Maybe you have a brother, a sister, an uncle, a cousin, a dad, a mom, and you don't want them to move in with you. Just being cute. But how cool would it be that you were someone's hero? When my mom had open heart surgery a few years ago, man, do I wish that we had known about living benefits. Because you know who my mom's living benefits was? Me. Because she didn't have living benefits. And man, talk about financial upheaval. I invite you to come back. We also teach this class over 100 times a month live in small neighborhoods, in apartment complexes, in clubhouses, in conference rooms, in small companies, big companies, Vail Resorts, Google, the New York Police Department. If you know of some place that our information would go good, please share with us. Let us know.